Now, the way I see the whole journey sort of happen is the adoption of digitization. If I were to talk about it, so there was this ACT survey that was done very recently in 2022, which says that 80% of the respondents are looking at a digital transformation, i.e., looking at automation, API integration, looking at a treasury system, and being integrated to your core system in SAP, Oracle, or likewise. So clearly, this is one ecosystem that I see the likes of an IBS and Refinitiv, with the combination of the power and the data coming together. The second thing that becomes important is what part of the automation am I talking about? And we talked about pre-trade, trade, and post-trade, right? Now, obviously, that is one part of the deal execution. But what about the underlying exposure? How is the exposures coming in? How is that being posted? What is the frequency? What is the lag? Am I getting a data which is meant to be real time coming after 1 month for a capex project? Because markets have moved, interest rates have moved, FX has moved. So clearly, those are pieces. What is the agility associated with that? So I think getting through the whole cycle of the exposures and mapping it with the instruments. More importantly, understanding the payoff of the instruments and therefore having a TMS system which can talk about here is a call spread structure, here is a Siegel structure, here is a range forward. What does it mean for a payoff? Because a treasurer would understand, but would a CFO understand to that extent? And then can I simulate what the P&L and the balance sheet per se will look like? And that is where you can harness the power of data and the TMSs coming in. So we are seeing more adoptions. One interesting trivia, trade finance, whether it is an LC bank guarantee, letter of credit, or a bank guarantee, or even short-term credits, are immensely used by both importers and otherwise. How are we adapting to the change using the newer techniques like a blockchain? Now we have seen the likes of a JP Morgan going into this blockchain. Do we have the latest treasuries getting into this newer pieces on blockchain? Obviously, there's a lot of conversation that's happening around AI. It's an interesting read when people will have time, the audience. There's a book by Jeff Hawkins called The 1,000 Brain Theory, saying that even if you have rims and rims of data, are you able to predict? So let's take an example. If I'm going to play a particular match, I have the reading of the pitch, I have the reading of the environment, I have the reading of the sort of the mood of the players. Can I predict the outcome? And if you were to ask a statistician, and even if you were to ask Kumar in this call, he'll say, okay, I would predict the outcome with a certain probability distribution, with a certain confidence level. Inherently, when you look at behavioral science, it says that the decision-making doesn't happen from the neocortex, which is the frontal part of the brain, which is where the emotive decision happens. It actually happens from the limbic brain, which is the crocodile brain. So yes, AI, ML will be the future. You will have a lot of decision-making happening, but you still will have human interventions to take part of it. So clearly, we would need a stronger ecosystem. And then obviously, having seen at least IBSFINtech operate extremely strong, but more important is how do they keep in pace with the changes that is happening and sort of calibrating the product to sort of fit into the needs. So adoption, yes, it is going up. We are seeing from a consulting organization, risk environment change. And it is not just the financial risk. It is not just credit, market, and operational risk. Also risk associated with non-financial risk. How do I do a cyber risk quantification? That's the world that we're talking about. How do I do concentration risk calculation? How do I essentially look at ESG risk? How do I embed that in my overall ecosystem? I think those are the pieces where we see the whole world sort of navigating, and digital adoption is becoming more and more important.